Look at the birds up in the trees. We're not birds, we're a jug band, and we're practicing for the talent competition. Brothers. Boom, boom, boom. Brothers.
Who knows there may be others.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Essential Wrestling Podcast. I know, John McConnell, you're probably on the same page as me. You're more my age than John Smith is, but...
What the hell was that?
I think if you rank the greatest Christmas movies of all time, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas is at the top of most people's lists.
Yes, indeed. It's a good
Ladies and
day
gentlemen,
here in
welcome
Jersey.
to episode 85, powered by the Eastern Observer. You can taste the power. John McConnell, I'm going to throw it down to you again for episode 85. That was a magical year for a very famous defense and football team. There you go.
Yes, indeed. So I'm thinking about the 85 Bears. I'm thinking at least there ain't no hole in the wash tub. It's a good day to talk some wrestling.
That's John McConnell, our first ever PWP champion, the living legend. Also with us, John Smith. How's everything going, John Smith? We missed you last week, buddy. How you feeling?
Oh, much better now. I was just you weren't going to get anything out of me but a bunch of hacking and coughing last week. So, I could have just been on mute and you guys could have looked at my pretty face, but I figured I'd leave the crowd wanting for a week.
There you go. Like I said, there's rumors going around. Gary has a voodoo doll because they're making jokes. Now, Gary's missing again this week. The war that you two are having backstage overseas right now is getting a little...
Yeah.
On today's episode of the Essential Wrestling Podcast in the year of our Lord, December 21st, year of our Lord 2021, Paul Heyman got fired this week on SmackDown. Tommaso Ciampa sends a message to Braun Breaker on NXT. Matt Cardona most likely sleeping on his couch for a while after what happened this past week on Impact. Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens hugged last night on Raw. That was odd. Gary Mehaffy, we haven't heard from him. We hope he's okay. He might be chiming in at some point to talk about NXT UK and the absolutely amazing number one contenders match. It was a Heritage Cup match. The winner got Noam Dar. We'll discuss about that. Ryan Joy is on assignment this week. He'll be off for the next couple of weeks. He needs a break for piggybacking my ass while I've been gone. We make our picks for this week's upcoming shows. Like I said, Ryan's off. He's on vacation. I did not have time. There's not even any stick figure graphics today, ladies and gentlemen. So spoiler alert, there are no graphics. But we do thank minutestobelltime.com, as always, for being associated with this show. I know he's been putting a lot of posts thanking people on Facebook. So we do appreciate Ryan and minutestobelltime.com as well. We're going to make our picks. It's also sponsored by ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends. Play against the universe. And guys, you like it too. We are going to main event tonight's show with probably one of the greatest championship matches, not even in the calendar year, but just within the last 30 years. Absolutely amazing championship match. But we're going to curtain jerk the show with the other championship match that happened last week. We're going to throw the ticker up, and it's just so we're not confused. This is Winter War was amazing. We're going to keep that ticker going all show long. But the other championship match I want to talk about was from this past Wednesday on AEW's Winter is Coming. John DeConnie. They decided to throw us a curveball. I was kind of thrown for the loop. They actually led the show off with Hangman Page defending against Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, I guess it would have been too obvious to lead off the second hour with it, and then you'd be like, wow, okay, 60 minutes left, 60-minute time limit. We know where this is going. But it kind of felt that way anyway when it jerked the curtain. You kind of knew where it was going, and I guess by maybe the 20-minute mark, there was little doubt left in your mind. These two were just going to tear each other apart. chop each other's chests into chop meat, flip, flop, and fly all over the place. And in the end, you got Hangman finally hitting the buckshot lariat that he had tried for a couple times. He hit a shorter one, but he finally got the full Monty there and took Danielson out. But before he could even crawl into a cover, ding, 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 60 minutes is up. And another AEW champion cannot beat Bryan Danielson.
No. And so Kenny Omega can't beat Bryan Danielson. Adam Page can't beat Bryan Danielson in 60 minutes and 30 minutes combined. So that was the most of it. If they didn't do the 30-minute draw with Kenny Omega, I think this would have got a lot better reception. But and that's not taking away the athleticism and great. Everything that those two put out there was gold.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that there was no winner and they just did that. But again, those guys can't beat Bryan Danielson. How quick did it take Roman Reigns to beat Bryan Danielson, John Smith? I think you were talking about this pre-production.
I don't know how quick it was, but he also stacked them on top of another wrestler and pinned them both at the same time. So
Yeah,
I think we know what would happen if Roman Reigns fought Kenny Omega and Adam Page at the same time.
Exactly. That's exactly. You just stack them and rack them and stack them, right? Whatever.
You know it.
Lay them down and yak them, smack them. I guess to be continued with the AEW Championship picture. Who knows if Bryan Danielson, of course, is known for weaseling his way into these matches. So I think we'll get another crack. I believe their next pay-per-view isn't until March, Revolution. So I guess there's time before that. We figured it was a kind of a special show. Winter's coming. I don't know if they have any more of these weekly specials coming up. I know Holiday Bash. This is not going to be scored coming up this week, but
you got Bash or Battle of the Belts in January 8th.
All right, there you go. Maybe that'll be something there. So I blinked. I missed Wardlow beating Matt Sydal, but then I guess at the end of that match, Shawn Spears was out there. I got a phone call from MJF ordering Wardlow to go get champagne for his victory party. Wardlow didn't look too happy about that. And I'm actually, it's funny how sometimes the thought just crosses my mind, and like every time I see Wardlow, it's like, is he all elite, or still he's just getting paid by MJF? Like, is this getting a double paycheck? I don't know, but the War Dog is on a roll right now. That's a couple inactions. I don't want to call Matt Sydal an inaction, but he's not exactly going to go 60 minutes with Bryan Danielson. In an amazing women's match, Hikaru Shida defeated Serena Deeb after Shida slingshotted Serena into the cutest little turnbuckle pad that was under like the actual turnbuckle. This thing was so adorable. Slingshotted Serena Deeb. She hit it head first, fell back into a jackknife cover. Don't kid yourself. It was the Raw roll-up. The jackknife cover into a bridge. They sugarcoated that one. We all know what it was. So Serena Hikaru Shida, she won the rubber suit match. She wins the best 2 out of 3 series 2-1, and she will hopefully get back going into the positive direction, getting her championship back that she held so proudly. We're gonna throw these standings up right now because the other match, the Dynamite Diamond Ring match, that leads into a match coming up this point. But going into we're all pretty much. We were kind of, I want to say, torn between Page and Danielson. I know Travis and I had Danielson. Everybody else had Page. Everybody went 3-1 with the exception of John Smith. I don't know, John, if you care to explain yourself on this one. I know you had Serena Deeb, but I know you had Wardlow with the match you had right, I believe.
Well, you know what? I haven't been watching the minor leagues lately, so.
There you go. So not a lot of movement in the standings. As far as the EWP poll goes, I believe our next scored event will be day 1. So we got a little bit of time before that. So we'll see what happens there. But this week, AEW, actually, let's go to Rampage first real quick before I start getting into next week's action. John Smith, 10-man tag team match. Featured a couple of your guys here. I was thinking I was hoping they were going to have a Smitty Award, for the winning team.
Yeah, my boys, the Lucha Brothers, especially my best friend Penta, teamed up with Santana Ortiz and Eddie Kingston, who's probably my favorite singles. And then they went up against 2.0, the greatest tag team in the world, the Acclaimed and Daniel Garcia. the heels couldn't even get down to the ring before they, there was just a big melee on the ramp. We got about 3 or 4 minutes of that before we finally got the match started in the ring. The Acclaimed got their butts beaten the whole first half of the match. We go to commercial, we come back, and then 2.0 is getting their asses beat when we come back. So then, things get a little out of hand again. Everybody's, fighting each other. One guy in, moves, flippy dippy AEW. You know how it goes. And we finally get down to Eddie Kingston and Garcia, who ducks Eddie Kingston's back fist or back elbow and rolls him up with the Raw roll-up with the tights, auditioning for Vince, I guess. And we get a heel victory. They then continue to beat on Eddie Kingston and are saved by the Jurassic Express.
Yeah, fun match. So I guess was that everything you wanted it to be? You got 2.0. I know 2.0 rules. You have Eddie. You got your best friend Penta. Like, how did that exceed your expectations? Live up to them? Like,
well, I mean, something like this, I feel like they should give them, twice as much time because it was just all heels getting beat up and then the finish. So, I would have liked to see a little bit more, or at least split it up into different matches because we don't need this 10-man crap anymore, AEW.
That's fair. They need to keep it down to 8-man crap, which was the match also on that show between Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, and was it Rocky Romero? Best Friends. They defeated the Super Elite, which are the Bucks, Adam Cole, and Bobby Fish after Trent Beretta pinned Bobby Fish. That match is going to stem into a match on the Holiday Bash in Greensboro this upcoming Wednesday when John Smith, we finally get Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole, baby. What you got?
Oh, wow. That's really tough. I'm gonna have to stick with Adam Cole though, because he hasn't lost yet, or at least he hasn't been pinned or submitted yet. So I'm gonna stick with him for now.
John DeConnie, it seemed, I think it was last week on both episodes of Dynamite and Rampage, Orange Cassidy got left laying. So
yeah.
Even with the return of Trent, it was preempted by Orange Cassidy getting laid out. So
just about to get the triple BTE trigger. I think Cole stays clean here. Maybe we move to a pay-per-view for Cassidy to finally get the win over him and put the blemish on Cole's record. So give me Adam Cole.
Baby. Hey, Gary's backstage. All right, he's alive.
Gary.
John DeConnie in another impressive women's match is that the AEW women's division. They've been stepping up as of late. Looks like Britt Baker and Riho have tough acts to follow here with the Hikaru Shida Serena D match. And then they had a submission match on Rampage.
Indeed. You had Tai Conti, she of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I believe Judo background, versus Penelope Ford, who happens to use a derivation of the Muda Lock. So, of course, they would go at it for a submission match. They gave him about 6 minutes. It was, a lot of back and forth. It was pretty damn good. It was, at the very least, it was very nice to look at. But in the end, Penelope would jump into that wheelbarrow, Cazadoro, whatever you want to call it, and Conti took that opportunity to sit down and take her back, and she grabbed her arm, put it in a hammer lock, locked it in with her own leg, and then used her arms for some kind of take on a choke to get the tap out, and she wins the submission match. But she didn't really get much time to celebrate because seconds later, Bunny rolled in and knocked her the F out with the brass knucks. And Anna Jay ran the two heels off with a chair. But, Tay Conti didn't see any of that because she was seeing stars.
Yeah, just for fun. Just knocked her out with the brass knucks just for fun. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so going back, so we have Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy this Wednesday at Holiday Bash, right at the Greensboro Coliseum. We're also going to get Griff Garrison and Malachi Black. Griff Garrison had some tough words. Towards Malachi Black, defending his sister Julia, the sister of the Varsity Squad. John DeConnie.
Yeah, and he was pissed at his partner Pillman for not being mad enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's going to take on Malachi Black, and not that I don't believe Malachi Black could handle him on a normal night, but after we saw the little vignette with Malachi Black seemingly inducting someone into the House of Black, I think we might get a little surprise here and see one of his first buddies come along here. So I definitely think Malachi Black takes this match with Griff Garrison.
Yeah, Griff Garrison's singles record, John Smith. I haven't been on minutes to bell time in the record department yet, but I can't imagine it being too impressive with national TV. I'm sure he wins a lot on Dark and Elevation and Elevation Dark and not so dark Elevation and
Darky McDark Dark. That's the next show they have. AEW Darky McDark Dark. No, he's not winning. No.
Okay. Yeah, Griff Garrison was pissed. He mentioned Julia as being like his sister. I think there's more to that. I think there's something else here. So maybe I'm making a stretch out of it. Maybe I don't know. There was a promo with MJF and CM Punk. We'll get to them in a second, but they're back and forth a couple of weeks ago, and apparently this was the greatest, back and forth interview of all time. And I feel like the reason that it was because they took shots at WWE throughout the whole entire course of it, which is fine. They're allowed to do what they do. And I really don't like that. But when MJF compared CM Punk to Ryback this past Wednesday, because I don't think in my book, I don't think you can take it any bigger shot or go any lower than that. Like, that is just the bane of my existence is Ryback, and that's low. That's low. I think MJF went too far with that one. Just took it to a whole nother level. Anyway, MJF went on. He defeated Dante Martin to win his third Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal tournament. Not the Battle Royal, but the actual match. He's a 3-time Dynamite Diamond ring winner. John Connie, I don't remember how much this new ring cost. It was pretty pricey. I think it's over $100,000 now, right?
Yeah, I think the first one they were ballparking it around $40,000. I think they said this one was over 100 G's. So even nicer and shinier. And now he's got 2 or 3 of them, whatever.
So as MJF was celebrating, FTR came out, fellow members of the Pinnacle. They had MJF on his shoulders celebrating, and then the lights go out. Oh my God, is this Bray? Wait a minute. Didn't FTR do this to the Briscoes at the last Ring of Honor? It's probably the Briscoes. Again, John Smith, Sting again.
Was it Sting?
Again, second year in a row. So now MJF has 3 Dynamite Diamond rings, and Sting has 2 Winners Coming debuts under his belt in 2 years.
I'm so sorry I missed it.
Yeah. So we actually have a 6-man tag team match this week, John Smith. We have Sting, we have Darby Allin, we have CM Punk on one team against Pinnacles, MJF, and FTR.
Well, that's a must miss. I'm gonna go with give me CM Punk and Sting. They're the only time they'll probably ever team together.
Yeah, so they showed some respect to each other a couple weeks ago, I think. Well, he said he was feuding with Darby. Punk had some nice things to say about Sting. Punk's a really nice guy when he's not on Long Island, apparently.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy. I think he will. He'll take the win here, but it's in Greensboro, so there's got to be something between Tully and Sting afterwards, because they've been building up and talking about it, and being back in their old stomping grounds and whatnot. But I think Punk, Sting, and Allen will take it, but there'll be more to it than that.
Okay. I think one of FTR is going to take the pin on this too. It's not going to be Max. The TBS Championship Tournament, the women's tournament, finally getting back up and running again. We've been sitting in the semifinals for a couple of weeks now. John DeConnie, we finally have Nyla Rose and Ruby Soho. They've been getting at each other the past couple of weeks in 6-woman action, and attacks backstage and this, that, and the other. So they've set up a nice little feud. going into their semifinal matchup. The winner advances to the finals. I'm assuming, I guess maybe that title show that you're talking about in January, they'll finally crown the winner of this tournament when it eventually Dynamite, gets killed by hockey and goes to TBS.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so we'll have Ruby Soho and Nyla Rose to see who goes on to the finals. I'm thinking she's still kind of on a roll here. I think I don't know how the hell she's going to get it done, but I think Ruby Soho takes this.
Yeah, John Smith. I'm on Ruby too. I've had Ruby in my finals since the beginning of this.
Yeah, give me Ruby on this one.
Yeah, it's got. You want to say it's gonna be Ruby and Rosa again? Like, who's Rosa fighting? Why am I blanking on who Rosa's fighting? Jade Cargill. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Speaking of women's, the AEW World Women's Champion Britt Baker, she will be hosting a Christmas party with Tony Schiavone. See what happens on that one. And then actually they announced last week that this is actually going to be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to this. They announced the Owen Hart Foundation. They are announcing the Owen tournaments, a men's bracket and a women's bracket that will be crowned at Double or Nothing this May. So it's going to take some time to set up. The winner will get an Owen. I guess it's a trophy or something. But yeah, they came out a while ago that Owen Hart and the foundation were all elite, and they formed this partnership with Martha and the Hart family. So see where it goes with that. And then Saturday night on Rampage. Rampage will be bumped to Saturday night on TNT because on Christmas Eve, as we all know and love, A Christmas Story is run for 24 consecutive hours. Therefore, you cannot air wrestling. So Rampage will bump till Saturday night. I believe it is an hour early at 9 p.m. We're going to get Hook again, John DeConnie. We got Hook and Bear Bronson.
I haven't really paid a lot of attention to Bear Bronson. I'm not quite sure how Hook's going to get his arms around that neck, but something tells me there will be a Kata Hajime to end that one right there.
Yeah, this is a different style, John Smith, than Hook fighting Fuego del Sol in his only other match on record. It's quite the weight difference between Bear Bronson and Fuego.
Yeah, I got Hook winning this one though.
Yeah, might as well. Taz unleashed him for a reason. He's not going to start, losing. They're not going to do him what they're doing to Idris Elba on NXT, where he makes this great thing and then he just gets killed by everybody. And then the pride and joy of AEW, Dan Lambert is back.
Yes.
As always, takes a heaping bleep on AEW, along with Cody, for getting a TNT title shot and not Ethan Page or Scorpio Sky. Cody came out, had nothing to say because, in all honesty, Dan Lambert is 100% correct with what he was talking about. So Cody just started swinging. Dustin Rhodes came out. Sami came out. They all chased away top team. But we are going to get the TNT Championship match, John Smith. Cody Rhodes challenging to become the first ever two-time TNT champion against Sammy Guevara.
He's already a two-time TNT champion.
Is he really? A three-time champion, right?
Yeah, he booked himself to beat Luke Harper or Brody Lee right after Brody won it. Yeah, that was a good decision. He'll probably book himself to win. No, I got Guevara winning this one.
John DeConnie.
Yeah, give me Sammy retaining here. I don't really even understand what the point of booking this is. Like, they've been putting Cody in the ring, whether it be matches or in between segments, with other people who are so over as heels that they kind of have to not boo Cody as much. I don't see how this does anything for Cody, and the fact that the fans absolutely seem to hate him. But give me Sammy retaining.
Yeah, Sammy. There's no reason to put it back on Dan Lambert. I know they don't do disqualifications in AEW, but either Scorpio Sky or Ethan Page, they got to do something. I wouldn't be shocked if they were ever to do a no contest and just have Page and Sky just come out and just beat the crap out of both of them. This would be a good time for it, but I know AEW doesn't do that. They like to have winners in their matches that don't go 60 minutes. So, gentlemen, we are going to bid you adieu for the time being. If you want to go say real quick hello to your loved ones and grab some groceries, and we will see you shortly as we bring in from overseas. Oh, Gary, I did it again. I blanked our eyes out. Man. Gary, how's everything going today, Milani? You had us worried there for a second.
I had myself worried. It was almost I was imagining too many Santos Escobar matches, and I fell asleep.
No.
No, the change of hour keeps confusing. I was sitting waiting, I was okay, and then suddenly my wife appeared at the door and went, "Are you not?" I was like, "Ooh!" and disappeared. So apologies. But
I figured the hour earlier would be a little bit easier for you. I think it's easier for everybody. And for those of you tuning in, like I said, we appreciate you tuning in at 5 o'clock instead of our normal 6 o'clock. It's going to be like this for a little bit. So, but Gary, we had a really fun number one contenders match for the Heritage Cup. Went 5 rounds. And again, my Jersey guy just can't get out of the gate.
I was watching it the whole way through and thought, actually, this is going to be the one. They're going to give him the win. And I could imagine I was actually picturing you coming on going, it's finally happened.
Yes.
We've got his push. And then all of a sudden, no, it's happened again.
No.
I mean, a great match. It was a really good match. I mean, the two, they could have a good match in their sleep.
They don't know what a bad match is. They just don't know how to do it.
Yeah. But I say it's still one of those. And actually at one point, I thought right at the end when Egghead offered Nathan Fraser his hand at the end of the match, I thought, oh no, they're going to turn Nathan Fraser here. He's going to do the old, oh no, but he didn't. He shook his hand and it was fine. But as I say, absolutely phenomenal match. Egghead taking it, some great submissions and so on the whole way through it. And finishing off with one just in round 5 just to take it was phenomenal. So
yeah, that kick, I love that kick. The kick that he won in the first fall with that Luke, I said equivalent to Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat. It just nobody does that like him. Like that's a very it's an A-Kid move. It's his and nobody else does it, and he makes it look so good.
I will say the only thing I didn't like was actually when Nathan Fraser took the first fall. Nathan Fraser himself and then the commentators played it up as, oh, he's so shocked. Oh, what's happening? I thought, no, don't play it as shocked. You should be playing it as, oh, he's done it. He's finally shown he's worthy of being here. But they kind of played it as almost, oh, he's not quite good enough. He's surprised himself. But still.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. He belongs here. He's so good. I can't wait for him to just get out of the freaking gate.
Yeah.
But whatever. As long as he's on TV, right? I guess it could be worse. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Gary, I thought he had smiled when I saw Joe Coffey and Charlie Dempsey get at it. I was saying, like, Gary's got to be.
It's my new man crush. Charlie Dempsey's my new man crush.
That's it. So what'd you think? Like, Joe Coffey, too? That's a great opponent for him.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, and as I watched it, when he came out for the match, I thought, okay, this will be interesting. And I mean, they got a fair amount of time. Let me check how long they actually got. I mean, they got 12 and a half minutes or so. So it was a good length match. And I was so pleased to see actually that at the end of the day, that Charlie Dempsey went over like good and clean, obviously, with the ref stoppage when they had him in the submission, but just Charlie Dempsey's, I mean, truthfully, is just fantastic. He is so good. When I saw him come out, I was like, yes, here we go. It was great. Happy Christmas, me.
Yeah, right. Like I said, Rohan and Tio Man, along with Wolfie and Mark, they were all barred from ringside, but they came out anyway. That kind of caused a little bit of a distraction at the end. Joe passed out to the Dragon Sleeper after it was all said and done. So big win by Charlie Dempsey, big win by Di Familia, who was actually going to be entering in a little small tag team tournament that's going to take place in a couple weeks. I feel like NXT, I think they're going to be on break the next 2 weeks, Scare. I don't think there's anything this week. It's going to be maybe the highlight shows, or they'll just replay Walter and Dragunov again. Why not?
Yeah, it looks like the next 2 weeks are both kind of As you say, they're taking a break and then coming back with a bang the week after, to be fair, with the women's title
exactly.
match.
So it's going to be, Di Familia against Jack Stars and Dave Mastiff on one side of the bracket. The other bracket is going to be Ashton and Ollie going against Symbiosis. Then the winners will fight the following week, and then the winner of that gets the tag team championship match against the new champions, the Mustache Mountain, who they came out, they shot a promo. It didn't look like too much happened with it. I fast forwarded with it, but they seemed like their Trent Sevens finally got a smile on his face.
For now.
Kenny Williams defeated Danny Jones after a double dose of bad luck. Kenny Williams. So he's making statements going towards Mark Andrews. I guess he's still got a beeline for him.
He still needs his beard. I'm sorry. He still, when he comes out clean shaven, I don't quite like it. But no, he is. He's making obviously a line for the entire subculture. He seems to be going for them all and working his way through everybody, and obviously attacked Mark Andrews backstage as well. So can't wait for that match. To be fair, it should be an absolutely phenomenal match when the two of them finally get it on. So
yeah, that match is sneaky good. I mean, if you look at it, see Mark Andrews, Mark Andrews, Kenny Williams. It doesn't look like Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson on paper, but that match is going to shine. Like both of those guys can go. It's going to be incredible. And then we're getting the match that we wanted also in 3 weeks, the same night that those tag title small. They're not calling it a tournament. I don't even know what the hell they're calling it. But we're going to get the women's championship match. Miko's going to be back in the UK, and she's going to be challenged by Blair Davenport. We got 3 weeks to think about it and talk about it. But any early thoughts? Any early? I don't say predictions. We'll save the predictions for that show. But
I mean, it'll be a good match, and it will be interesting to see exactly what they do. I am leaning at the minute in my initial thoughts towards the title change. To be fair. This will be NXT UK's day one in inverted commas. It's like start the new year and go right, bang. But I'd say I'll think about that the more we go. But at the minute, my initial thoughts would be leaning that way. But I can't wait to see the match. I mean, it's been, as you know, I would have had that match from the first time that Blair Davenport walked into the company. So finally, we're going to get it. So
I think they'll call it day 6. I think it's on January 6th. Day 6. But yeah, that's it, Garrett. It seemed like it was a quick episode. It was a lot of wrestling, and then there was a lot of promos to hype these upcoming matches in 2.5 weeks. So we're glad to have you on. Anything? Did you happen to catch Winter War '84 this past Saturday night? Big title match between Sex Ferguson and Santa Claus. Actually, it turned out to be.
Yes, I saw. No, unfortunately, I didn't get to see it. It had to be said. I saw some of the results. Although I am hoping, obviously, I was thinking earlier on. I've got my my NXT UK. How would I put it? I've been obviously looking at every day and getting all my stuff. And I'm hopeful that when I get to day 24 on my advent calendar for NXT UK, that I'll open it up and it'll be Walter, because then I'll know where he is. But we'll be able to find him, and that's where he's been hiding on me. But no, I've been catching a few things and keeping up on some stuff, but unfortunately, as I say, didn't see that.
It was a show for the ages, Gary. It's a show for the ages.
It certainly looked like it.
A lot of Pat's Blue Ribbon going on in that show. All right, Gary, thank you as always. It was a wonderful year. This year, we'll figure maybe something out for next week. I think we had an award show last year. We'll see if maybe we can possibly make that happen again.
Yeah.
But Gary, always great having you on. It was a great 2021 for us on air, and the NXT UK, they shine. They always seem to shine. And Merry Christmas to you and to all your family.
And to all of you. Hopefully have a really good one. And as you say, it's been a great year, and I've been very thankful for being involved here, as well as being able to see all the stuff in NXT UK. So hope everybody has a good one, and I shall see you all soon.
Yeah, see you soon, Gary. You guys want to say goodbye to Gary? I think I'll say goodbye to him.
I messed with all the clocks in his house, but he still made it on the show someday.
I'd just like to say, Al, Merry Christmas. John DeConte, Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas, buddy.
See you still get there. I'm like a bad penny. I keep turning up.
Yeah. Have a great night, Gary.
Merry Christmas, Gary.
So normally we switch from You don't need to go right to the NXT version UK. We'll stay for that for a little bit because big night on SmackDown. We'll transition right to that. Lay it to SmackDown. We go straight to the main event. Roman Reigns didn't show up to the arena until later on. He had some questions for Paul Heyman in regards to the most recent events that happened between Brock and Sami Zayn. And I guess the main question that Roman had for Paul Heyman was, are you a special counsel or are you an advocate? And Heyman, to his credit, Heyman gave an honest answer. I'm not trying to protect Brock from you. I'm trying to protect you from Brock. Roman didn't like that. Roman fired him on the spot, followed by a Superman punch. And then Lesnar came out for the save. So John Smith will do a small roundtable here. Is this actually happening, or is this a plan to try to outsmart Brock Lesnar? Because it seems like Brock's been outsmarting Roman kind of this. It's been weird.
I actually didn't consider that at all. I think this is legit. I think Heyman's going with Brock on this one.
Can't you see a low blow though when he does it? You say Heyman has turned on Brock in the past. If you go all the way back to the 2003 Survivor Series, Brock's first loss came out the hands when Paul Heyman swerved him, and the Big Show beat Brock Lesnar for the WWE title.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Yeah, I could definitely see. I wasn't thinking it at the time. I was thinking, wow, this is not exactly how I saw this twist coming. But yeah, I could see that. But for now, I don't know. I think Paul is just going to be kind of, I think kind of walking around very depressed. He doesn't, all that time with the Anoa'i family and 40 years, and he dumped me, and but eventually Paul will come back around. He'll, his golden tongue, or silver tongue, however the saying goes, will hype Brock up to where he needs to be, and then Brock won't get the job done because I don't think Roman's ever going to lose.
Yeah, I feel like it's still going to be Roman coming out of this, but like, what do you do with Paul after that? Because then Brock is, let's just say Brock sticks around until WrestleMania, that's fine. But then what do you do after that? Because then Brock's going to go back up to cutting trees down with an axe and hunting deer. Exactly. With Sami Zayn, presumably.
His best buddy.
Yeah, right. Canadian alpha males. So it's interesting. So right now, my initial thought is I'm calling BS on this, and that Roman needs a plan to be. Let's be fair here. Other than that last pay-per-view, I think Brock has pretty much beaten Roman. Let's just say maybe 4 out of 5 times over the course of the last 5 years with all the WrestleMania main events and this, that, and the other. So it's been. I think that's where Paul's going with that. It's like, I'm trying to protect you from him because you can't beat him like you haven't. John DeConnie staying with the ones. They had a non-title match between the Uday and the Usos. The Uday and the Usos. As a prelim, I guess, for the championship match at day one.
As a backlash to their match last week, and as a preview for their match coming up at day one. And the funny thing is, once again, I'm just as guilty as anyone who bitches that WWE rolls the same stuff out over and over and over again. But have you ever seen a bad New Day and Uso match? Because I haven't. So, you got exactly what you expected. These guys,
and you never know who's going to win them either, John. That's another thing. You never know who's going to win those. They're so evenly matched, and they're so good, and then you're so into it. Yeah,
exactly. So this one, had, they played all the hits. We got all the good stuff. We got 8.5 minutes of them doing what they do better than just about any 2 teams in the world. And then we got Jay making a tag, but the ref didn't see it. And while Jimmy was arguing, Kofi hits Trouble in Paradise, and the New Day once again takes it with a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so that'll, they said they're going in. There is a tag team championship match at day one. So we'll see what happens when the belts are on the line. Roman again issuing, you mentioned the Usos because they've been losing a lot lately. He's like, we're family though. We can work through that.
Yeah.
Paul, on the other hand, happy talk. Let's just go through Happy Talk real quick. So Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss, they stole Adam Pearce's desk with the sword that McIntyre, jumped into it. Pearce's desk, it was a new prop on the set of Happy Talk. A couple jokes from Madcap Moss. Later, here comes Drew McIntyre. He gets a sword pack. McIntyre is going to be fighting Madcap Moss at day one. Good for Moss. I think this is his first pay-per-view. Like, good for him. Maybe another 15, 30-minute draw. But Pat McAfee, again, I don't know if anybody heard this. So the crowd, they're in Chicago. The fact that this is the only time you got a CM Punk chant during the show. But Happy Talk, you're supposed to, piss off Corbin. You're not supposed to like him. But here comes Pat McAfee. I'm with the crowd. We want love. I thought that maybe that's what they were chanting the entire time. We want love. We want love. We want love. We want love. He's the best. He's the best color commentator out in wrestling. Honestly, if I were to book my 2000, this era, like, give me Max Striker and Pat McAfee, and like that's my favorite.
I'll take it.
The Viking Raiders defeated Jinder Mahal and Shanky after Ivar hit a splash off the top rope on Shanky. Naomi only wants one thing for Christmas. Next, Sonya Deville one-on-one. Sonya instead gave her Shayna Baszler again. Blindside attack by Shayna before the match started. The bell rang. The knee was busted and broken. But Naomi hit her with, which I believe you can just call Shayna's Kryptonite. I believe we can rename the Raw Roll-Up to Shayna's Kryptonite because, god damn, she just can't kick out of that thing. Like, can we, like, send her, like, video, like, something, sit her down with Andre Chase, maybe, or something to help teach her how to get out of a roll-up predicament because she just can't do it. It's just so bad lighting all. Naomi got the job done. Hopefully, this will lead to the eventual match with Sonya Deville. And then John Smith, I guess the same thing happened to Cesaro. He got jumped for his match as well with Ridge Holland.
Yeah, Ridge Holland accompanied by Sheamus and his little miniature baseball bat. They call it Billy Club, but it just looks like a bat.
Yeah, you get as a souvenir when you're a kid and you go to
exactly. He gets Cesaro in the lower ribs with a nice jab with it before the match, to the point where Cesaro needed the entire commercial break to decide whether he could continue and start the match or not. So, of course, we get the match. It's not that long of a match, and Holland is dominating most of it, but then we get the comeback by Cesaro on the outside of the ring. He tosses Holland in. Distraction by Sheamus, of course. Shot to the ribs by Holland again, and then a glorified body slam that he uses as a finisher for the pin. And Cesaro just continues his climb back down to the bottom, his descent back down to the mid-card.
Yep. Northern Grit, I believe, is what John McConney mentioned the name.
It's literally a body slam, but except he sits down instead of just like dropping the guy.
Well, he did extra momentum going to, the extra gravitational force when he's in the air and helps.
But he's hitting at the same time, so he's absorbing half the force.
No. So, Sami Zayn once again shouting out conspiracy with what happened with his WWE, with his Universal, Championship match against Roman Reigns. He wasn't ready, wasn't prepared. Brock Lesnar jumped him, this, that, and the other. So Adam Pearce, like, I have a great idea. It's you're a champion, you want a championship. Maybe I'll give you a shot at the Intercontinental Championship, which of course Sammy loves that belt. He held that belt throughout the entire pandemic, it seemed like, pretty much. But it's gonna give 11 other guys a shot at this. It's gonna call it the 12 Days of Christmas 12-man gauntlet, and then the winner gets Shinsuke Nakamura in an Intercontinental Championship match. The members that are in this gauntlet are Drew Gulak, Mansoor. This match isn't in Saudi Arabia, right? It's not. Okay. Just wanted to make sure this isn't a lock pick. All right. Cesaro, Ricochet, Jinder Mahal, Shanky, the Viking Raiders, Los Lotharios, Sheamus, and the aforementioned Sami Zayn. So, John Smith, who do you think comes out at this. And says, it's kind of focused on Sami. You can take the focus right off him real quick and shout out another conspiracy theory when you just throw him out there first and he has no shot in hell at winning this. So,
yeah, I could see them doing that. I think they're going to have him win the match, though, and then maybe screw him out of the match afterwards like they did with his world title.
Yeah, that'd be fun. If they did the bar with team, like the new bar, like a bar with Rich Holland, I think that'd be fun, the three of them going around kicking people's asses.
Yeah.
John DeConnie.
Yeah, I want to see Sami win this too, just because I want to see maximum amounts of Sami because he just entertains me so. So give me Mr. Zayn.
Yeah, Canadian alpha male.
No two
Canadian
ways
alpha male. It only makes sense, that him and Brock Lesnar are the ones challenging for the titles on SmackDown. Yeah, Sami again. Just they're giving him a chance to shine, and he's shining. He's been hysterical. He's just, and he's a good wrestler. What did he say to Heyman when he got up out of the wheelchair? He's like, I don't care if I'm in a wheelchair or not. Like, I am a top-notch athlete. Like, all right, Sami. Sami's flexing. It's Paul Heyman, but he's flexing a little bit. We don't see that much out of Sami. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And then I don't know, 12-man gauntlet match. I feel like that's going to eat up a lot of the time on SmackDown this Christmas Eve. Which is fine. I'm sure they'll throw that out there first, and then because we have our main event for the SmackDown Women's Championship, they did a prelude last Friday when Toni Storm and Sasha Banks defeated Charlotte Flair and Shotzi Blackheart. After Toni Storm rolled up Charlotte with a bridge cover, another version of the roll-up, but she did the bridge back just like Sheeta did. So, as a wise man once said, hey, there's a bridge you want to cross over and over again, right?
Or go under.
Yeah, right. I believe it was JR that said that too when Trish Stratus did a bridge. Like, hey King, is that a bridge you want to cross over and over again, huh? So we have the SmackDown Women's Championship. Charlotte Flair defending against Toni Storm. John Smith. I see a picture on your wall. Is the picture still up there? There it is. Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she's right here.
There you go. What do you got?
Wait, that's happening on SmackDown?
Christmas Eve, SmackDown Women's Championship.
No bleep. I didn't know that. Yeah, give me Charlotte. I don't think they're going to give it to Toni. I'd love it, though.
Was it last year? Wasn't there a huge title change on Christmas within the last 2 years? That's a good question for Ryan Joy. Where the hell is he anyway? John DeConnie, who do you got?
I reserve the right to change my mind after watching this week. No, this is actually this week. There's nothing left. To do. So yes, Charlotte got rolled up last week. There's no way in hell she's losing the title this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Charlotte as well. Was it Biggie winning the Intercontinental title? I think it was Biggie beating Shinsuke.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, obviously Roman wouldn't lose, but I think it was Big E winning the Intercontinental title last year. That would be my guess. So see what happens in there. So a fun episode of SmackDown coming up this Friday night on Christmas Eve. Rumors going around from James Wheeler. Tape was taped after last Friday's show. I'm not going to spoil it. Thank you very much, James. We appreciate that. He beat Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title last year, so I was happy.
There you go.
We'll take it. About last night on Raw, again, Bobby Lashley shoved down our throats. The show started with Lashley and MVP boasting about what Lashley did the prior week, winning 3 matches to qualify for the WWE title match at day 1. Biggie came out calling out Lashley for needing MVP's help to beat him, and we're all thank God that Biggie does not need knee surgery after that cane shot from Biggie the prior week. We've seen what that's done in the past, guys. No one's tougher than Goldberg. Goldberg needed knee surgery after that kind of cane shot, so we're glad that Biggie is okay. He competed last night. We're sure he'll be cleared for day 1. MVP told Lashley that he could beat Big E, so Lashley gave MVP the opportunity. Lashley stepped out of the ring, but then he was attacked by a gigantic bumblebee, which turned out to be Seth Rollins in a yellow plaid suit, along with Kevin Owens. So it led to a tag team match, because again, John DeConnie, for whatever reason, when Lashley is getting attacked by Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, Biggie just feels the need to help Lashley for whatever reason.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it got us to our main event, and that's all they really needed. Because let's be honest, WWE doesn't feel they ever have to make sense. So we got Biggie and Lashley versus Owens and Rollins, who were bickering backstage on and off throughout the show. Let's see. Oh, that's right. Rollins steps out of the way of a Lashley spear, and Big E takes the brunt of it, knocks him out. Big E doesn't make another appearance throughout the rest of the actual match. Then Lashley turns around and spears Kevin Owens and gets the 1-2-3. But Rollins and Owens don't really care about the match. They lost it, but Lashley's right there. They work him over a little bit. KO powerbomb, gives him that apron powerbomb, the second hardest part of the ring, of course. Rollins stomps him onto the bottom half of the ring steps. And they end the show, Rollins and KO hugging and raising each other's hands. And they're victorious. They're bestest buddies. And because that's not going to blow up in a couple days.
No, but maybe, can you see Kevin Owens in one of those Bumblebee plaid yellow suits? Like, do you think maybe KO will start dressing like him if they become friends? I would kind of like to see that.
I'd love to see KO in the big furry red fur coat. With the Bono glasses.
Miz TV, we had two talk shows. It was the Return to the Cutting Edge with Maurice. We'll get to that in a second. But Miz TV, they also had an episode as well, must-see TV. I forget his catchphrase. With AJ Styles and Omas. Now, John Smith, it sounded like Miz got some info from Omas before they even went on air, before they even went on screen.
Yeah, so he's grilling AJ about his partnership with Omas, and AJ's giving him the standard, we're getting things back together. Now we're going to go after all the titles. Our rift is over, blah, blah, blah. And then Miz is like, yeah, well, that's not what I heard from this guy. And meanwhile, Omas isn't saying a word. Miz tells him that Omas is tired of carrying him and blah, blah, blah. Typical pro wrestling tag team breakup stuff. So then we get interrupted by the Mysterios music before Omas is about to speak. And we get the match between AJ and Omas versus the Mysterios. AJ tries to tag Omas in the hot tag towards the end of the match, or what ended up being the end of the match. And Omas just turns away, doesn't put the arm out. AJ's very upset. He then gets roll up, of course, by Rey Mysterio for the 3 count. And then he gets up and tells Omas that he's a piece of trash. And he slaps him. And Omas starts to get into the ring, and AJ hits him with a kick and a bunch of punches and flurries of kicks and punches. And then Omas tosses him over. He goes to do the flying forearm. Omas catches him by the neck, throws him up, some sort of power slam type deal, and AJ's left laying in the middle of the ring, and now we got our split.
Yeah, like I said, I was talking with John DeConnie about this last week. It almost seemed like AJ was going to come out of this as the face. So that's a kind of I wouldn't say a swerve of what we were expecting originally, but we expected Omas to be the one that's shooting, Styles being the guy that provokes. That's probably
why they got Miz involved, because everybody hates the Miz, so then they'll cheer AJ, and then they'll boo Omas in turn because they're now cheering AJ.
Speaking of AJ Styles, I guess we have another match to pick for tonight when we get to the NXT segment. Grayson Waller versus AJ Styles.
Yeah, I read it while you were on with Gary. I saw on Facebook there was a post from an hour earlier that said that AJ's making his way through NXT and Grayson Waller will be there to greet him. Something to that effect. So I don't think it's like a scheduled match, but I'm sure they're going to end up having a match.
Well, Waller was supposed to take on LA Knight tonight, wasn't he?
I didn't hear last. Yeah, well, we'll get there. Okay, let's just cross that bridge when we get there. Okay, let's. Wow, 2 bridge mentions in one episode. That's pretty crazy.
Well, that's the bridge.
2 very different bridge mentions.
Yeah. On the cutting edge, his own talk show with Maurice. Maurice vented. She wants to thank you from the Miz because she's tired, she's exhausted. She mentioned their children, as we all know, future NXT Women's Champion Monroe Mizanin and future NXT Intercontinental Champion Madison Mizanin. But Edge wasn't buying any of this. I wasn't buying any of it either. But the thing was, he was right. It was all crap, and he still couldn't stop the attack from the Miz, who nailed another skull-crushing finale, as gaining some more momentum going into day one. I was kind of hoping they were saving that sort for day one, because now I feel like I'm going to be losing a point in the standings when Edge picks up the win. Lots of talking between Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. We'll discuss more of that next week when we make our picks for day one. Bianca Belair defeated Doudrop with the KOD. Needed a little bit of an assist to get her up for it, but that's still impressive as she held her up there and walked to the center of the ring. Flipped her over. That's not easy. I'm not sure I could do it. So shout out to Bianca Belair. The payoff was finally there. We had 3 matches to lead up to that point. And so we're calling it the final chapter. There you go. Done and done. There was no rubber match on this one. She won the series. It was a full sweep, 3-0. So moving forward with Bianca Belair and Doudrop. In a match I didn't know I wanted to see until they announced it, Randy Orton defeated Chad Gable with an RKO. I think it was only 3 minutes long, but damn, like that was. I want to see that again, like longer. You can give them 60 minutes, and I'll be happy with that. I mean, John the Comedy, we had a Champions Contenders match this time for the United States Championship.
Yes, indeed. It was Dolph Ziggler of the Dirty Dogs taking on the United States champion Damian Priest. And, of course, Robert Roode was at ringside. And, of course, Robert Roode would at some point interject himself into the match when he tripped Damian Priest while he was out on the apron. Priest kind of disappeared to the floor for a minute and came back up, having one of his little hissy fits. And then chased Robert Roode halfway around the ring and lost track of the count and got himself counted out. So Dolph Ziggler wins by count out, and now he will presumably get a title match somewhere down the line. And
I hope he take one.
Roode got a reckoning on the floor.
Yeah, it said Dolph Ziggler looking to regain the United States Championship. I believe the last time he won it, he quit for a while. That was another thing. I'll never forget that. That was the most random triple threat. I still can't believe to this day. It was Styles and it was somebody else, and it was just Dolph Ziggler. I think it was Styles Nakamura, maybe. I don't know. It was the Styles and Owens feud. Ziggler just randomly inserted in there, and he won, and then he quit the next day. They're like, why'd you even put him in the match? Why did you even do it?
Once again, it doesn't have to make sense.
No, I guess not. Unfortunately, gentlemen, the new trend, the streak that Queen Zelina Vega has started the past couple of weeks has come to an abrupt ending as Rhea Ripley defeated her with the Riptide. Fun little streak, 2 wins in a row by a tag team champion. We haven't seen that since way back in the day, probably Sasha and Bayley. I'd say the Iconics, but that's not true either. Finn Balor defeated Austin Theory with the coup de grace, but Austin Theory wasn't happy about his loss, decided to attack Finn Balor in the back, told Vince McMahon he didn't expect it, all the lessons that Vince has been teaching Austin Theory. Vince liked that, so instead of firing him, you're fired, firing him on Christmas around the holidays, which actually Vince McMahon really enjoys. Hashtag too soon. Too soon for that kind of.
People act like they don't get paid for another 90 days after or something.
Yeah. So Vince actually, as much as he loves firing people around the holidays, he's going to give Austin Theory another chance. He's going to get Finn Balor again next Monday night on Raw. John Smith.
He's given them all. He's given all these people that he fired a chance to spend their time on the holidays with their families instead of having to be on the road and not on TV. He's doing them a favor. That's the way I see it. What do you got for me? What's the question?
They're having a rematch next Monday night. Austin Theory, Finn Balor.
Give me Finn Balor again.
All right, I think I got to go with Finn as well on this one. John Nakani?
Yeah, I assume this is going to lead to a day one match between them. So give me Finn to do it here, and then maybe Theory finally gets his win at day one.
All right, switching gears. Actually, we just talked about it. I guess Grayson Waller will do his first. I guess he was in the ring last Tuesday night, reminding us that he attacked Johnny Gargano, and later in the night, he was kicked out of the locker room by Braun Breaker. So whatever's going on Twitter right now between him and AJ Styles, I have absolutely no idea. Anyone want to fill me in on this one? John Smith, you said you were looking into it when Gary was on.
Well, I don't know anything about Twitter. All I know is that it's the post from WWE on Facebook said that Grayson Waller was going to be there to greet AJ Styles, and that AJ Styles was coming around. It was all news to me. I didn't know anything beforehand was happening.
John Nakani, anything?
No, it's all news to me. Last I saw, it was supposed to be Waller versus La Knight.
I didn't even see that. I was on Twitter all morning just trying to make sure I got my matches correct so we can talk about it. I didn't see that one at all. But Braun Breaker, he defeated Roderick Strong, John Nakani. Thank God that wasn't a cruiserweight title match. I don't know why I was convinced that it was. I don't remember them ever saying it was when they announced it.
Yeah, like they were talking about, the setup for it was now that Roderick Strong has waived the weight limit on the Cruiserweight Championship, he wants to take on all the best competition. So, Braun Breaker, you're that next big money match. So, presumably, it was for the now open weight championship that isn't really, we don't know what the hell's going on, blah, blah, blah. So, anywho, we had Braun Breaker and Roderick Strong. They went about 10 minutes. Roderick Strong, of course, can put on a good match with a pencil. So Braun Breaker, obviously made a good showing, and eventually would get that gorilla press into the power slam for the 1, 2, 3, and Breaker wins, but once again doesn't get much time to really celebrate because Tommaso Ciampa would attack him. He'd hit the Willow's Bell. And I don't know if this was done on purpose, but it looked like he dropped him right on the NXT Championship.
Yeah.
And then he would whisper sweet nothings in his ear and kiss him on the cheek, which I believe is known as the kiss of death.
Yeah, we mentioned last week we were coming up with scenarios of how the Cruiserweight Championship is going to die because Vince absolutely hates that title. So let's just.
I'd like to see it get switched to something called like the openweight title, and it's just another like a third title for NXT.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I think the most likely scenarios it'll get, strong, or at least Bivens seem to be going back and forth with Mello. So yeah, I see it probably being unified there.
John Smith, we had a no holds barred match. Maybe this is probably the final chapter with Grimy and Duke.
Yeah, this did not turn out the way we all thought it would when it started. When the whole feud started, we thought that this was all to get Grayson or not Grayson. What's his name?
Hudson.
Duke Hudson over. But he lost the hair versus hair match. So then you think, okay, he'll win the no holds barred match. He comes out doing his best Kurt Angle impression with the with also looking like Jake Paul a little bit with that blonde wig with the headgear on. So, it wasn't like the super hardcore match, but they did make use of chairs, and Grimes had a nice moonsault off the top rope. When they were at the outside, Hudson was going for a Razor's Edge, and it got reversed into a Hurricane Rana by Grimes. That was real nice. Grimes set up a chair in the corner and went to jump off of it and got caught in an Uranagi and slammed onto the chair. That was pretty cool. Went for the cave-in, ended up getting caught in a powerbomb through a poker table.
Yeah, I thought it was over there. I honestly thought, like, I'm saying, like, the guy who's his gimmick is poker, and he's using a poker. Game over.
Nope, guess not. So then he finds himself some hair clippers under the ring, sets up one of the chairs, sits in it, and he's about to start cutting Grimes' hair. Grimes kicks him in the face. gets himself a poison Rana, that's what a reverse Hurricane Rana is, right? When you get him from behind with the Hurricane Rana. And then Hudson pops back into the chair, gets caved in through the chair that he's sitting on for the 1, 2, 3. And I was just as surprised as you guys probably were.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was, but the poison on it, like falling into the chair. I thought that was a pretty cool finish. I really enjoyed how that worked.
Absolutely.
Ivy Nile, she was going back to Diamond Mine. She was in action. She defeated in action with a Dragon Sleeper type submission. That's what she's been using lately. She stays undefeated. MSK has scooters now, so that's fun. And they broke out the old John Cena U.S. title, the spinner belt.
It seems like they're grooming them to come up and be part of some sort of stable with Riddle once him and RK Bro is done. It looks like.
Robert Stone is going to be taken seriously going forward. See how that works.
By who?
Yeah, by a Jersey guy here. I'll take Robert Stone seriously. Get him back in the ring. The guy knows how to wrestle. Get him back in the ring. Harland was in his NXT debut. He defeated in action with a belly-to-back lift into it was a slam. So it was another pick you up and put you down type maneuver by a big guy in NXT. So Joe Gacy seemed happy with the debut of Harland. And then Boa, as I mentioned earlier, he defeated Edris Anafi with a tongue and death drift, shout out to Haku, followed by a spin kick. So, again, Edris Anafi, he's just not going to get off the ground. And I'm actually happy about this because we were talking last week, John Nakani, we were kind of fearing for Boa's life in this match. If he would have lost this match,
that
would have been really tough. James Wheeler sees nothing but big things for Harland.
I like the gimmick. It's something different. It's along the same lines of like the Wyatt family back in the day. Obviously not similar, but like that like creepiness to it,
Yeah, but I also see preaching and with a big bodyguard. So this is I feel like they're ripping off Reverend Devon and Deacon Batista. But we all know Batista went on to those big things that James is predicting here. So maybe this isn't the worst thing in the world for Harland right now.
Absolutely.
We got a couple. I said the matches I know of real quick. I said potentially AJ Styles and Grayson Waller. Who knows? But then this guy, he had some words last week. Who knows what else he was saying? But he interrupted Robert Stone. He's going to be in action this week, still in his Halloween costume. We got Dexter Loomis and Trick Williams finally after all these weeks. I guess Trick has finally cleared John Smith from being injured in more games he wasn't even in.
Yeah, give me Dexter with the side choke or whatever he calls it.
Silence.
The silence.
John Nakani.
Yeah, give me Dexter here. I think he'll scare Trick Williams into I don't know whether it's silence or a roll up. I don't see Trick winning this one.
Yep. Jacket Time last week. They defeated Grizzled Young Veterans after some help from the Creed brothers who distracted Grizzled Young Veterans. So they're going to get at it this week. Freaking GYV is just in trouble. GYV versus the Creed brothers, John Nakani. I don't.
Ooh, Jesus, those poor guys.
But then again, as we saw, the Creed brothers are human, actually. It's not like they're this undefeated monsters that they've lost twice now. As once we talked about it the other week when they lost to
Jensen, Briggs and Jensen.
Oh, yeah, Briggs and Jensen. But then I guess they lost to Imperium before that, according to Ryan Joy, which, he doesn't really lie about stuff like that. So, I mean, it's like the Creed brothers, I guess, are more human than we're making them out to be.
Yeah, it just seemed like that's what they were setting them up for. They were setting them up to be an unbeatable team, and then they just dropped a couple of oopsies in there. But I don't see it going GYV's way. Give me the Creed brothers.
John Smith.
Yeah, the Grizzled Young Veterans are turning into the Grizzled Young Jobbers, unfortunately.
There you go. Tony D'Angelo, he defeated Andre Chase last week after a roll the dice type of move. Remember Reno from WCW? Natural Born Thrillers? Roll the dice. Thrillers. Pete Dunne came out post-match looking for his mouthpiece, not like Paul Heyman, like his actual mouthpiece. That D'Angelo stole. He got it back. Problem solved. Wanted a match there. D'Angelo said, hey, wait a minute. Let's do it next week. Paisan, I guess. So they're gonna get at it this week, John DeConnie. I want to see Tony D'Angelo stretched in like every single way possible.
Yeah, and I think it might be one of those a case where the minute Dunn puts on something, he'll tap real quickly just to avoid damage. Like I can see him, because he's got that kind of chicken shit heel vibe to him. But I definitely see Dunn taking it.
It has to be. You're gonna have all these, the older guys put over all these new guys. Oh, you can't do this to Pete Dunne though. Like he's just too vicious. Like you can't have Pete Dunne losing to Tony D'Angelo, John Smith. At least in my opinion.
I think Tony D'Angelo is going to win this one by some major cheating, do something crazy, and then once it's going to keep the feud going, and then Pete Dunne will end up on top at the end of it all. But I got Tony D'Angelo winning this one.
Yeah, Tony teaches Petey Poppins a lesson tonight. Hey. Although I think that's more of a Fonzie impersonation than an Italian. I don't know.
Was the mouthpiece really like the best they could do though? That was like really stupid.
The tough
like
thing
you
was
can't buy another one.
Case. He had it in a glass case. Stop. There were probably pieces of glass in that mouthpiece when Dunn put it in. Like,
exactly.
Talk about cutting your teeth, right?
Jesus.
Cora Jade defeated Dakota Kai. After Kai brought a shovel into the ring, the referee pulled it away from her, and Cora, who apparently is wise beyond her years, nailed the Raw roll-up for the victory. Post-match attack by Dakota Kai, thwarted by Raquel Gonzalez. Post-match attack by Mandy Rose went unthwarted on Cora Jade. And Toxic Attraction, again, proves their dominance. Raquel wants her friendship to finally come to an end with Dakota Kai, and they are going to have a street fight tonight, John Smith, which will hopefully be the main event. It should main event the show.
Oof. That was Dakota versus Raquel, you said, in the street fight?
Yep. Finally gonna get it over with.
It's got to be Dakota. She's got to be the one that takes the end of this feud. I got to go with Dakota here.
This is fanboy me. Yes, Dakota needs to win this. John DeConnie?
I'll be the contrarian. Give me Raquel.
John DeConnie, we don't talk about religion on this show. So, real quick, I'm going to jump to Impact. We have 2 segments left. Looks like we have pretty decent. We can run through Impact real quickly before we get to Winter War 84. They had a contract signing for Hard to Kill between the 3 championship participants. It got crazy, as contract signings always do. Matt Cardona took a swing at Moose with a chair, accidentally cracked Chelsea Green in the head with it. And apparently that's the second time this week he did that, because I think he did it in some other organization. I don't know if it was GCW, because I think he announced his retirement from there, but he got her twice. So I think Cardona's sleeping on the couch for a while.
Yikes.
John DeConnie, barn burner between Josh Alexander and Rohit Raju. I say that kind of somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but Rohit shined in this one. Like, he actually did very, very well.
Absolutely.
Better than I made him out to be.
Yeah, there were moments here where, you knew it was set up for Josh to take the victory here, because Josh is big mad about Jonah and not getting his hands on Jonah, but Rohit had the upper hand more than once, a couple of drive-by knees, and, Rohit doing what Rohit does, which is entertain and, jump all over the place and put on a goddamn good match. They went about 8.5 minutes. Josh eventually would end it with what we used to call the divine intervention. Now, I guess it's the C4 spike, and Josh gets the win here, but Rohit shines because he shines.
Yeah, I feel like, you throw it back at me, because I make fun of AEW every once in a while for, CM Punk going over 10 minutes with whoever it was that one time. It was Alan Angels.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's like Josh should have got him in like 4. So you can throw that back at me. I'm a Rohit Raju fan. I'm not going to complain about it, but he shined. But you could throw that right back in my face, and I would have to be like, you know what? That's fair.
Rohit Raju is a former X Division champion, though.
Exactly.
Who's Alan Angels?
Exactly. Okay, there you go. John DeConnie, another match. Actually, the match that Stryker and D'Lo were hyping up the entire first hour. Laredo Kid and Chris Bay.
Yeah, and it outperformed what if you've got 17 minutes to spare, take a look at this match because it absolutely is worth your time. And when the match was starting, I think someone was actually in the conversation thread, which doesn't happen very often on the Impact shows with me. And I was saying, I almost hope that this one has a funny ending, so they have an excuse to redo it again at a pay-per-view, so they give it more time. Well, they gave it time on this show. They gave it 17 minutes, and it was everything you could have asked for. These two put on a hell of a match. It ended with Bay catching a cutter when Laredo Kid was coming off the top buckle, so it was kind of a super RKO, if you will. And Chris Bay gets the 1-2-3, but just a fantastic match.
Yeah, well, the cutter is part of the ultimate finesser or whatever his name is. Like he uses a cutter. I think he does that the springboard cutter.
Yeah, exactly. This wasn't a springboard. He just caught him in the center of the ring with it. Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely a familiar technique.
John Smith, the Good Brothers, and Violent by Design, they had a business deal in place to take out Rich Swann, Willie Mack, Rhino, and Heath. They sent out the two big dogs to take out Rich and Willie last Thursday.
Yeah, Rich and Willie Mack versus Doring and Sex Ferguson. What a match! So we get the faces starting off just dominating Sex Ferguson until we get to the commercial break.
And then let's do a quick timeout. Okay, this is just so everyone knows. We'll be talking about former champion Sex Ferguson in the next crap. He is talking about Doc Gallows. Like we didn't just come out. Okay. This is Gallows we're talking about. Yeah, I forgot there is more about Sex Ferguson later in the show. So then we come back from commercial. Doring and Gallows have the upper hand. They give Willie Mack a nice double choke slam in the middle of the ring, and we get the 1-2-3. And Violent by Design and the Good Brothers have a nice little cohesive unit going on for now until that blows up whenever it happens. Yeah, they got Willie up there on that double choke slam. I don't think probably Willie's ever been that high since college or whatever. But he was. I mean, he took the bullet. I'm like, then maybe they'll just go up halfway. Kind of like Kane and Undertaker used to do, whatever. With the exception of X-Pac, he used to fling X-Pac around. But they got Willie up full extension and just dropped him down. I thought that was really impressive. Post-match beatdown commenced. It was thwarted by Eddie Edwards and Kenny. So that's 5 on each side. It looks like we're going to some type of brawl at Hard to Kill with those 10 guys. So why not just give the 10 of them a bunch of weapons, put the tag titles on the burners for a hot second, and just let them just beat the snot out of them. Let's see some war games or something like that between them. That'd be fun. That'd be good. Do they have it? They don't have a war games to cage there. Maybe they can create one. They could do something. Yeah, they can do something.
Yeah, they have they have an alternating entrance cage match, something. I just forget what the hell it's called.
Trey Miguel defeated John Skyler after a Meteora, the meatiest of auras. Who is John Skyler? Anyway, they asked like 5 times that match, right? They want to know who is John. Anyway,
and I'm over here like, wait, who is John Skyler?
Yeah, I know, but that's.
He's a guy who lost to Jordan Grace a couple of weeks ago.
Steve Macklin attacked Trey at the top of the ramp post-match. It looks like we're heading towards that at Hard to Kill for the X Division title. Mickey and Deanna got it into again. So Gail Kim announced that their match at Hard to Kill will be a Texas death match to end the feud. With that, Deanna will also be challenging for the Ring of Honor Women's Championship at some point, where she showed up at Final Battle and got in Rock's C's face. So I like this belt collector better, to tell you the truth. Tennille Dashwood, she defeated Jessie McKay. I'm so sad that these guys are fighting, but it's going to be so good. After Caleb tripped Jessie getting into the ring, allowing Tennille Dashwood to hit the spotlight kick. The problem I have when I think fat, you've known it a long time that I mix up letters. Okay. And then also somebody presumably from Russia is coming soon.
Ludwig Borga? Ludwig Borga. No, he was from Finland, though.
Yeah, that's right. He was from Finland. Yep. Next 2 weeks will be the end of the Year Awards. There will be no live action Impact, and then we come back on January 6th, I believe. I was talking to Gary about on the Thursday. That will be the go-home show for Hard to Kill. So Impact's going to take a little hiatus, enjoy the year-end awards, as we go back in time to the wonderful year. Let's see if James has anything to say for us. Of 1984. No, that's not James this time. The show opened, John DeConnie. I know there was a pre-show match involving Duke Winchester. We'll get to him in a second. But the show, it started up. John Smith, just let him know. John Smith might be a little, he'll chime in every once in a while. He wasn't able to watch the show. I was able to sneak it in yesterday. John DeConnie probably watched it live, but so we're just going to go through. It's going to be a show proper thing. We're just going to go right through it. I didn't reorganize the show, with the main events for the big matches, and I just go downhill. Let's start the show. A little controversy. Muscles McGee. Well, first of all, they're in Louisville, Kentucky. John DeConnie. This is the first ever stateside production for the Impact Provincial Wrestling Federation. So they crossed the borders for the first time. We have our two announcers of Giuseppe, whatever, I can't think of his name.
Scovelli?
Giuseppe Jr., Giuseppe Zavelli Jr., the son of the owner. You'll see Senior a lot tonight as well, along with who's your boy? You're not wearing the hockey hat.
No, I forgot to put the hockey hat
Gordon
on.
LaRue.
Our boy Gordon LaRue.
Former hockey player Gordon LaRue was on color commentary. Those two had fun the entire night. But as we found out, we start the show with the Commonwealth Television Champion Sex Ferguson. He was supposed to be originally challenged by Muscles McGee. But Muscles McGee couldn't get across the border just like everybody else could. And, of course, Sex has nothing to do with that. And they were comparing it to John DeConnie to what happened with Cowboy McCoy, where I guess he had automotive problems the time that he was supposed to challenge Sex Ferguson. So,
yeah, I think Ferguson might have, had a little something to do with this here because he seemed to know a little bit more than he probably should have about the whole situation. But that's okay. Sex Ferguson thought he had the night off. But Giuseppe Scovelli Sr., the owner, of course, he came out and said, no, you don't get off that easy. I've got a new main event for you. You will be facing Santa Claus in a North Pole street fight in the main event tonight for the International Commonwealth Television Championship.
And that said, he looks familiar, John DeConnie. We have to put a pin in that for now. He looked, I kind of...
Yeah,
but we started off
is throwing me,
Yeah, there's something there. I don't know if that's the actual Santa Claus. I might be wrong, but
was it Santa Claus with an X?
Oh, thank goodness, no. He was wearing the red satin outfit, not the black.
We had our first match of the night. Chad Too Bad. I don't know if you've heard me giggle the entire show. Every time I see Bill Ding's name on the ticket go across, I laugh a little bit. The evil construction worker coming in at 32 cinder blocks as his weight. Bill Ding, how did this match go for you, John DeConnie?
Chad Too Bad hit a beautiful running splash. He had, with that credit card vertical, you could just about slide a credit card underneath his feet when he gets off the ground. He comes crashing down on Bill Ding for the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it was a splash. It was preceded by the two variations of the atomic drop. So I think a lot of those set up Chad Too Bad for the win. So good for him. The Rhythmic Warriors, they had their new music video. That was that. It was Johnny Swinger and Mikey Singer, huh?
They just keep on walking. There was a very, very lovely lady in the video wearing an outfit that was well ahead of its time.
Yeah, the black dress with the red sash. Yeah, definitely ahead of its time. But yeah, the Rhythmic Warriors, they actually had a match against the Sunday Morning Express, who always gets the scoop on you. There's some news reporters. They were.
This match broke down into chaos. Who was it? It was the Ace Reporter and who was the boss?
I forget.
The editor, boss man, whomever. Well, they were no match for the Rhythmic Warriors. I'm not even sure who the legal men were, but there was a double schoolboy roll up, and the Rhythmic Warriors would get the 1, 2, 3.
Shout out to the new young and up and coming Mikey Singer. He unfortunately went bald at a young age. He carried the match, to give that guy credit. However old he is, he carried that.
Yeah, he did. He went old school all the way. He went around the world.
John Smith, you're gonna like this one. Frank the Butcher, he defeated Rip Razor after the slice and the dice by Frank the Butcher. That's the move that all the kids they love it nowadays. The post match, Rip Razor had the last laugh by pulling out a razor and slitting Frank the Butcher's throat. So
they murdered him.
The lives of Frank the Butcher at this point.
So there was a murder on this show.
Attempted
apparently, but the good thing there were physicians. You'll see later in the show there were physicians. Dr. Snow and his assistant. They were on site to do a tracheotomy. To help save Frank the Butcher's life. So we'll keep you more posted about that. But then John DeConnie, unfortunately, I'm crying right now. He's so, and the whole entire time, Giuseppe's like, this guy should be in jail for murder.
What crime take place? Would someone answer that phone?
They did a pre-match interview with Georgia Cobb, former members of the Rough Riders. Georgia Cobb, what were the Rough Riders? What were their ride 'em long, ride 'em hard? So Georgia Cobb about her former tag team partner, Lady Bird Johnson. We never thought they'd fight each other. All the main Rough Rider matches. But it looks like Lady Bird Johnson did something with a tire iron to somebody. I don't know, but they had the match. Georgia Cobb got the win with it. It was a flipping Samoan drop. How about that for a move way ahead of its time? What's your fondest Rough Rider memory, John DeConnie?
There are just too many to count. I'm just glad that Georgia Cobb was able to avoid the same fate as the other two departed Rough Riders when she avoided getting hit with the same tire iron that Lady Bird Johnson had dug out from under the ring.
Yeah. Tire irons, just too many tears come out tire iron. Here's where it gets fun. Okay, so a medical update on Frank the Butcher. Like I said, they needed to perform a tracheotomy. In the midst of all this, here comes Quincy Cosmos. Fucking Rohit. Here comes Quincy Cosmos. Knocked into the medical system when knocked out Dr. Snow and knocked out Giuseppe Sr. It was just a bowling pin mess. And Quincy Cosmos actually reached over and took the family heirloom necklace off of Giuseppe Sr. So here we go, out to the ring. Quincy Cosmos letting the world know that he has this new necklace. And Giuseppe Jr., goddamn it, John DeConnie, he can't sit by ringside anymore and watch this.
No, he could not let him take his dad out like that and face no consequences. So Juicy Jr. got in the ring with Quincy Cosmos and said, "You versus me, right here, right now." The referee would take a bump in this one. Giuseppe Jr. would pull off a couple of moves that no one had ever seen before in this lifetime. He would eventually win it with a code breaker, and because the referee was out, there was no referee backup, I suppose. So Giuseppe Sr. would slide in to count the 1, 2, 3 for Giuseppe Jr. to take the win over Quincy Cosmos.
Yeah, and then a very heartfelt moment with the Scavelli family as Giuseppe Sr. actually put the necklace around the victorious Giuseppe Jr., Juicy Jr., as LaRue would call him, Gord LaRue would call him. How many PBRs did Gord have in that? Gord had about a case of beer during that match. So nobody was watching. A bunch of those frosty PBRs. Going backstage, Rip Razor and Rusty Iron, they were hightailing it out of the arena, because they kind of slit somebody's throat. So they're trying to get the hell out of there. But they got stopped by I'm a Bell. A little southern Georgia pizza. I spy a Georgia girl who challenged Rusty Iron to a match. Again, Rusty didn't want to do it. Rip didn't want to do it. I mean, here comes Duke Winchester, who, coming off his victory on before the Impact, I guess, or the pre-show for
before the war.
Before the war. Poor Duke Winchester. Then, after the match was booked and Rusty agreed to it, it's a cold night in Kentucky. Apparently, Duke Winchester immediately got into a car accident. His life was on the line as well. But they were still worried about the slit throat. I believe Duke is dead.
Very.
Anyway, here comes DJ Too Large, coming out to spit some new rhymes from his new album, but followed closely by Colonel E. Korn and Pelvis Wesley, who I believe has jumped ship from Southpaw Wrestling, if I do remember correctly.
I believe so.
Pelvis Wesley, I've seen him before. They ended up actually having a freestyle match. Anyway, Wesley ended up hitting DJ Too Large with the guitar. That match is leaked over. That will be the Before the Impact show this Thursday night, before the award show. It is going to be Pelvis Wesley versus TJ Too Large. For those of you who want to watch that replay, we have a bull rope match between Triple H, Hard Harry Hall, and Badlands Bart. It all started this, Jonathan Connie. This actually came from when Badlands Bart, he went to Hall's, and I guess his tag team partner was Oates. He went to Hall and Oates' farm, which started a stampede that resulted in Oates getting his chest caved in by one of the cattle. So Hard Harry Hall, he's actually out for the revenge of his tag team partner.
At the hands of Badlands Bart from the far off distant wastelands of, what was it, 2003, I believe?
2003.
And they had themselves a Four Corners bull rope match with the same bull rope that was used to get the steers back under control after the terrible stampede that ended Oates' career. And Hard Harry Hall would follow Bart around. They'd both touch 3 corners in a row. You had to touch 4 corners in a row. Well, Triple H would flip over Bart's back to touch that 4th corner to take the win in 7 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yes, fun match. Both of those guys brought it. Backstage, I guess there was Sonny Sanders and I can't remember the other guy's name. I just have question marks, but Sonny Sanders and somebody else. They were fighting over to try to get the services. I guess they're the Provincial Wrestling Federation. They are signing all-pro fullback from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Emile Grenier. He's headed to IPWF. So the funny thing with Sonny Sanders, sorry, time out real quick. Sammy Callahan, he was rattling off the Canadian football teams. He said Tiger Cats. He said Rough Riders twice. I swear to God, there's 8 teams in the CFL, and 2 of them were called the Rough Riders. They eventually changed their name to something else. One of them.
Yeah.
But you have 8 teams in one league, and 2 of them have the same name. Anyway, all right, back to playtime. So that's going on. Emile Grenier coming soon. Now this brings us to a match between Rusty Iron and I'm a Bella. I spy a Georgia girl, Jonathan Connie. Just a sweet Georgia peach.
Absolutely, yeah. And she was. I mean, did she not look lovely in that very frilly dress?
Yes, she did.
So many ruffles. It was almost blinding. She would win this one with a cartwheel splash in about 5.5 minutes. Over Rusty Iron, and then Rip Razor would threaten Ima Bell. He had her kind of backed into a corner. It didn't look good for Ima Bell, but then the save would be made by the man whose life was already saved earlier in that evening. Frank the Butcher would come out and make the save, and Rip Razor would get his comeuppance after slashing his throat with a straight blade.
Yeah, successful tracheotomy for Frank the Butcher by whoever that orderly was. Because Dr. Snow was taken out. But yeah, it was a pencil and a straw or a toothpick and a straw. Got the job done, saved Frank the Butcher's life, who ended up saving Ima Bell's life. So, it's trickle effect right there. We had an interview. With Canada's favorite lumberjack, Tim Burr, who's looking to become the first person to take Eric the Red Wood off of his... I feel like I'm reading WrestleMania 61 over again when I'm reading this. Timber. Again, Eric the Red Wood. Never been taken on his feet before. John Licani had this one go.
Well, I mean, Tim Burr laid it out. I mean, you're talking about a man who on his resume, he had taken down the likes of Big John Studd, Congo Kong, and even Andre. So no doubt he would be the first to take Eric the Red Wood off his feet. And he did exactly that by body slamming him and following up with a devastating leg drop, which was, I'm sure, state-of-the-art maneuver at that time in history. And he would get the 1, 2, 3 because no one kicks out of the leg drop.
You know what? I remember watching WrestleMania 3 when Hogan slammed Andre, then hit the legs up, and I was like, oh, there he goes, ripping off Tim Burr and Eric the Red Wood. I said that on the podcast back in 1987. The $300,000 man has fallen, had some hard times, and is now dropped to the $270,000 man. But he just landed the hottest new wrestler in the company, Wanda the Werewolf, as she took on Jazzy Fitbody.
Yes, Jazzy Fitbody would win by DQ because Wanda just bit her and would not let go. So.
Just grabbed that latch onto the neck and then.
And afterwards, what was it before?
It was fun though. Jazzy tried to get her to do the Thriller. Yeah, she was trying to get her to do the Thriller at the beginning of the match. That was fun. Stomp in Paradise. Not happy that the Russians almost ruined the 1984 Olympics, John Licani. So. It always makes sense that I forget their name. G.I. Broski and Brian the
Bone Crunching. Brian Bone Crunching and G.I. Broski would take on the terrible Russian team of Sergei the Siberian and the Stalingrad Strangler. And it would be Bone Crunching that would get the Strangler up in a fireman's carry, and G.I. Broski would finish him off with a death-defying second buckle jumping neck breaker for the 1, 2, 3. And afterwards, Stomp would celebrate with some frosty PBRs.
Yeah, and I think the big story of this match was G.I. Broski kicked out of the double Russian leg sweep. I don't think I've ever seen anybody kick out of that. Like, that was absolutely. They did the Pledge of Allegiance before the match. The crowd was singing in unison. They really went all out to be the patriotic heroes here against those dastardly commie bastards, I believe they were called in that match. Which brings us to our main event, John Licani. We had a North Pole street fight from our champion, Sexual W. Ferguson. We found out his full name. They went all out on this one. Take us home here.
Oh God, yes. So Santa Claus in his Lucha Libre mask would take on Sex Ferguson, the International Commonwealth Television Champion, as we all know, the biggest title in the province. And Santa Claus would eventually win with a running senton. And he would be celebrated with almost the entire, the whole babyface locker room emptied to hang with the new champ, who would eventually remove his lucha mask. And I'll be damned if it wasn't downtown Daddy Brown.
You know what? He looked familiar at the start. Like, it could be. And even in the one episode, he went at the end of Santa Claus's promo, "I'm coming home to you, Mrs. Claus. Daddy's coming home." And I was like,
That was foreshadowing.
Yeah. I tell you what, that was such a fun 3 hours. And it's fun because it was the guys, it was Rohit Raju, Deonna Purrazzo, the Good Brothers, Sam Beal, Rhino. They're the guys that aren't in Wrestle House, or Wrestle Court or whatever, other than Swinger.
Yeah.
But it was fun to see them just be
Get
stupid, like they're just being idiots and they were having fun, and it just makes for such a fun show. I hope they do this every year. I really do. I just love the fact that Willie Mack is like the Superman of this freaking made-up organization. Like he just
twice in a row he ended with the big title over his shoulder.
Yeah, and then put up on. I don't remember the empty arena match where Ferguson beat him. They did show highlights of it, but I don't remember ever reading about it or hearing about it.
Well, I mean, this was 37 years ago, so you're talking serious history.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll wrap it up then. That was just so much fun.
I can't believe we made it through that.
It said building, and then the pathful ribbon comment. Oh, by the way, shout out to the announcers were it was Josh Matthews was Giuseppe Jr., but Matt Stryker as Gordon LaRue and all the hockey references the entire night. Absolutely incredible.
Not only was he the MVP with all the old school hockey references, but to make the cinematic choice to play a Canadian retired hockey player who somehow spoke with an Irish brogue was, I just think.
All right. John Smith, we got one more match for you to pick. How about this? All right, so we have the Primetime Rundown powered by StreamYard with Joe Jarzenka, Ian Schreier, Rob DeLuca. Is now airing at 7 p.m. on Monday nights as they take you through the wide world of sports right here on all of the Eastern Observer platforms. For more information, please go to theeasternobserver.com. All 3 words, all 1 word on the board. Theeasternobserver.com. With this, we have invaded the Primetime Rundown as part of a little Eastern Observer Survivor pool. Here are the standings after Week 15 from our end. We did not do well at all, boys. John DeConnie got the Niners right. Ryan Joyby landed the Cowboys. John Smith, I think this is twice the Detroit Lions got you.
Yeah, and the Jets got me once. Like all my losses are like major upsets this year.
Yeah, I went with the bonding together after the whole Urban Meyer incident. I thought the Jaguars were a lock this week. There's every 1 week to pick them. I wanted them to beat the Texans. Didn't happen though. Tyler again double fail. Did not make a pick. Gary's still looking for Walter. But on the Primetime Rundown side, other than Larry Park, he failed to submit a pick as well. He's right with Tyler. They nailed it. They went 5-0 on the other matches, so they are now within 3 wins of us. So I believe there are 3 weeks left in the season. And there's still 2 games tonight. Nobody picked any of the 4 teams playing. So those stats are final. But John Smith, in the Ham and Eggers fantasy football pool, myself and John DeConnie, we have finished 3rd and 2nd. So our game's not over this week. Like I said, I need my kicker for the Rams, Matt Gay. He needs to score me 25 points or something like that to beat Tyler, or maybe that's something I forget what it was. But I came down with the loss. John DeConnie got the win in the last week of the regular season, so he has home field advantage and the 2 seed going into our playoff matchup. John Smith, here are the rosters we're putting on the field right now. I didn't put whose team is who, so you can actually have an unbiased opinion on the matter. So you're not going to know which team is which here. You might have a slight guess on who's who, but yeah, Evolution is going to be putting out Russell Wilson, Najee Harris, Diggs, Mike Williams, Jefferson, who's been tearing it up. Kyle Pitts. He has a choice. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, she also has the Damian Harris, Miles Sanders, Eli Mitchell for that last flex spot. The Cowboys defense and the New Haven 5-1-5. Stafford, you could also throw in Matt Ryan or Carson Wentz. You can play matchup with that one if you want. Kamara, Allen, Lockett, that's a solid squad right there. Mark Andrews, probably the best tight end in football. It's not named Travis Kelce. And then Van Jefferson. And then there's a choice between the Rams and the Dolphins for his defense. So, John Smith, looking at this, who do you think's got the matchup here?
Well, he's definitely got you at quarterback and running back. It's only one running back?
But we have 2 flex.
Okay. You guys are pretty. No, you got the advantage at wide receiver. He's got you at tight end, of course.
Yeah.
And Josh Jacobs is the best of your 4 flexes, but I mean, I would take your 2 over his 2 because I don't really like Van Jefferson. I would say it's about even. I'm giving this one to Mr. DeConnie, though, because you always beat me, so I'm never going to go with it.
John the Con, if I do remember, we did split our season series this year. I believe you beat me early on. I beat you later on.
Exactly.
So we'll and then John Smith and I, in the Stone Age pool that John Smith runs, my team didn't show up. John Smith completely trucked everybody. He hit pretty much on all facets other than Tom Brady. So
yeah, I have Jonathan Taylor and Kelsey went off this week.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter that I had Tom Brady.
Exactly. So John Smith, congratulations, the regular season champion, the number 1 seed in the playoffs,
Points champ.
You have to go, points champ to win the Stone Age championship. The road goes through Andre the Giant Stadium. I finished second, so hopefully next week John Smith will be having the same conversation, having John the Connie picking between our two teams for the Stone Age championship. So
very nice.
Your lips to God's ears.
Yep.
Knock on some wood over there, buddy.
The Body Slam Brigade newsletter, over 5,000 subscribers. Receive this weekly column. Make sure you go to minutestobelltime.com to subscribe. The Body Slam Brigade by Ryan for you for free. The Black Cats NYC, the official band of the Eastern Observer, get their new album, Free Kick, or their most recent album. Do you think the rumors going around that they're making a new album? Let's start a rumor. Anywhere you get music, you can get the Black Cats NYC and their album Free Cake. It's out now. Play it loud. As always, the Essential Wrestling Podcast is sponsored by Pro Wrestling Pick'em, the internet leader in sports entertainment pick'em pools. Join us in the Essential Wrestling Podcast public pool to play against us or create a private pool with just you and your friends. ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends. Play against the universe. And guys, she will like it too. Make sure you join us next week for episode 86. New York Mets, right? 1986. Episode 86 of the Essential Wrestling Podcast. Not going to be a lot going on. Impact goes off for the next 2 weeks. NXT UK is off for the next 2 weeks. I believe we did an award show this last year. So maybe with the NHL season on pause, I'm actually home for the next couple days. I will be home. So maybe we can make something happen with that. So that will do it for our episode today. We're getting off early. We got the football game starting at 7 o'clock. We got NXT and AJ Styles apparently going at 8 o'clock. He's going to be showing up on USA Network, so that's going to be something crazy. And then hopefully an amazing street fight. Now you have the 2 seasoned vets. You got the 2 women that know how to do this. Let Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez absolutely tear the house down. John the Connie, anything before we leave?
No, just looking forward to the 2 games tonight, and we got some NXT UK, so a full night.
John Smith,
I almost forgot my gimmick at the end there with the King Kong Bundy. Holy crap. That would have been the first time I missed it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Alexa Bliss, where'd you go? There you go. Alexa Bliss, we love you. Larry Steve, always in our hearts. Thank you for joining us. John the Connie, take us home.
Thanks for joining us, and as always, we wish you the best in all your future endeavors. Will someone answer that phone?
Brothers!
Sex